Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to be taking a look at high-performance workforce alternatives for distribution. Mike is now going to go over with the audience what we mean when we talk about a high-performance workforce.
Thanks, Christine. TZA thinks of a high-performance workforce as one that has successfully implemented the processes and tools that are necessary to enable their workforce within the distribution centers to perform at their peak potential. Then by using these tools has also educated and motivated their workforce such that performance has just become a part of their culture. The types of tools that I'm talking about and the capabilities that I'm talking about to create such a workforce include a lean approach to best practices, standard operating procedures that are very well documented and understood, a continuous improvement methodology, also the use of dynamic engineered standards. Those are used, and I think Christine mentioned it earlier, to set a proper expectation or a minimum expectation of the workforce task by task, and allow and enable you to hold that workforce accountable for that performance. Believe in the well-defined organizational development programs and the training to create a culture of high performance so that it's sustainable moving on, and then managing what that whole change process looks like as you advance in those programs. Also part of a high-performance workforce would be the motivational programs involved, whether it's incentive programs or some type of progressive improvement plan. The key is keeping that workforce actively involved and engaged in succeeding at that performance level. And then finally, it is using the right technology to pull it together such that you can proactively manage that workforce and plan that workforce, and then also report back to the individuals on their performance. Historically, companies that buy into this process see quite a bit of benefit. By applying these capabilities, the benefits our clients have 7 years or so include a significant reduction in payroll costs. 15 to 30% of that reduction or removal of payroll costs is pretty typical, and in some cases even more. Turnover reduction and improved employee morale are certainly byproducts of this as well. And just overall, a better quality and safer work environment. At TZA, one of our approaches to help clients understand and determine whether or not this type of program would be successful for them is to help our clients with an assessment of their operations. We'll send engineers on site, and we'll spend time observing their observations. We'll do interviews with executive and HR management as well as on-site management to specifically determine what that opportunity is. However, for the purposes here today, you could see and maybe get a general idea of what a savings opportunity may be within your workforce today. On the left-hand side of this diagram, you can see that you could compare yourself to the workforce measurement capabilities that you have in-house today. Anywhere from if you have no standards and it's just pretty much a task-driven environment, all the way up to whether or not you had a full-blown labor management application with engineered standards and even doing an incentive program with your workforce. Across the top of this diagram, you can rate your supervision capabilities. Whether that is from a basic or just a simple handing out a task type of culture and supervision capabilities, or all the way up to more of a coaching and barrier removal type of culture within The example that we're showing here is that if your distribution operation typically uses an historical metric to attempt to forecast your labor and or evaluate your performance or your personnel, and that you have sort of an average type of supervisory staff who's giving just some general feedback to the employees, your opportunity to succeed or to save by moving to a standards environment with a good coaching environment, your opportunity could be upwards of 30%. When we look to sort of flatten that chart into a single evaluation of what we've seen into the marketplace, this is kind of where companies fall. So in combining those two scales of the companies that we've seen in the marketplace over the years, we estimate that between 60 and 85% of the companies in the market are using no standards or some sort of simple manage their workforce. So as such, there is a tremendous amount of opportunity within the operations.
As Mike said, over the past 20-some years, TZA has been helping companies achieve these types of benefits through implementing programs on a consulting basis. So TZA comes in and enables and implements programs. But most recently, we've seen a demand and a desire from our clients to have TZA take on a little bit more of that responsibility in an execution role on their behalf. Mike, what do you think about this change?
Well, many companies with distribution operations are at a crossroads, trying to decide whether they keep these capabilities in-house and try to evolve their own programs into a high-performance workforce environment, or whether they look outside in order to achieve these benefits. Historically, as you said, attacking these it was typically done through a project approach, whether it was completely internal or the use of a company like TZA or our competitors in the marketplace. The problem that has kind of evolved in the industry over the last several years that these programs become more popular is that the model somewhat lacks sustainability. If the company is not completely vested in that program, and they haven't implemented the type of continuous effort and continuous improvement methodology and really fighting that battle day to day, performance can start to plateau or even regress over the years. I think from what I've seen in the market, companies have begun to realize this, and they're asking for a better way and seeking something different. Christine said earlier that our clients are pulling us in a certain direction to be more involved on the execution side of these programs. And because of that, we've kind of looked at maybe there's a better way. And that way is to infuse into your organization a solution that really lives and breathes with you in a continuous improvement methodology. We think it's very important that you sustain these efforts for the long term. Still, you need that substantial return on investment that we talked about earlier that come from these kinds of programs. But also, you want to be able to maintain that control over your own environment. So, one way to go about this then is to truly look at a vested partnership as an alternative, perhaps, to a generic project approach to a high-performance workforce. A managed service offering potentially could be the right solution where the experts and the creators of that intellectual property stay with the program in an operational role or take over some execution responsibilities for the longer term. Historically, the way to get that vested partnership was to completely outsource your operation to a third-party logistics company. More recently, though, some staffing firms are also attempting to create and on-site presence. In our conversations with Kate Potasic at the University of Tennessee, who is the author of that Vesting and Outsourcing, we believe that there may be a middle ground that really can take you the whole 9 yards, if you will. Yeah, the managed service approach versus a 3PL or a staffing approach is a solution where we can take over operational execution responsibilities for either some or all the workforce, then apply the principles of a high-performance workforce that we've just discussed. You can think of it as a staffing alternative with a tremendous value add through performance capabilities and operational expertise. Unlike in a 3PL arrangement, however, you are not just simply throwing the keys over the fence for your operations to a third party. Rather, we transition the existing staff from the staffing firm or potentially client employees to the managed service provider, then apply the lean principles, the engineering techniques, the technology, and all the other performance culture capabilities that we discussed go into a high-performance workforce and apply all of those. We do this by starting at your current operational costs and then try to drive down this and through all those capabilities that we talked about. Contrasting that with more of a 3PL approach, a typical 3PL can actually increase your costs because of the overhead that's involved, the startup risk and paying for that, and the ramp up and the knowledge transfer, and the use of capital, of their capital to fund material handling, equipment and buildings and so on. You know, with the hope that maybe over a 3 to 5 year term of a commercial arrangement, you can actually start to see a return. Looking at the scale on this slide, you can see that there is a significant ROI in a very, very short amount of time with not nearly the risk of a third-party logistics company and more along the risk of a staffing firm by using more of a managed services approach where it is like a staffing firm coming in, but all the additional value-added benefits of the high-performance workforce methodologies. To review, you know, the components of a high-performance workforce, our managed service offering does account for all of those different different levels. The people, we have the compensation strategies, the HR and recruiting capabilities, the transition, workforce transition and enablement, and compensation programs like an incentive program or progressive improvement program that are required of a high-performance workforce. The processes, the lean SOPs, engineered standards are something that, that we've grown up with over the years. And then our ProTrack technology suite, which Christine mentioned earlier, is a full-blown labor management solution and program that allows for task-level accountability. Contains the executive dashboard reporting capabilities, a labor planning module, as well as some activity-based costing capabilities so you can see where you spend your time and whether it's an indirect or a direct type of task and what each individual type of task is costing you. Finally, we've added another layer, though, that I think is somewhat unique in the industry, and that is the performance layer. We're willing, whether it's in the form of fixing our piece rates that are below the rates you have today, or in a gain share type of arrangement, or fixing management fees and so on, we're willing to put our money on the line as well to guarantee that performance.